Hi again, everybody. I'm back with an interesting update. And feeling extra self-conscious about sharing this time. And let me explain why. So, in a couple of previous videos, I had mentioned someone who I care very deeply about, and he is not my divine counterpart, but is definitely part of the same soul group here on the same mission. And I still have a lot of love for him and feel a very deep connection. And I never really put it out there, but and I'm not even sure. I felt very strongly previously that moving forward, I usually only like to speak for myself because I don't want to project things that I'm feeling or experiencing onto other people, especially not like the collective, unless I feel that a lot of people are experiencing a similar thing. And I know some people feeling this way, but so this may not be true for everybody. It may only be true for me, and I don't even know if it's fully true for me at the moment. But feeling though the idea of relationships as we know them, romantic relationships, as we evolve into higher levels of consciousness, will not look the same at all. I have been slowly getting to a point, but really rapidly recently come to a place where I really don't like labels. I think they're extremely limiting. And they put a lot of expectations, so both limits and expectations on connections. And it's interesting because I think that oftentimes romantic relationships is the only place that we tend to do this. I think sometimes with friends and family, depending on the person. But it does seem that like romantic relationships, we've been taught from a pretty young age, are meant to look a certain way, and that you move from one stage to the next and to the next and to the next, and they progress in a certain way, and if X, Y, or Z isn't happening, then the relationship should be over. And so I've always had issues with a lot of those things. And at the moment, I'm not exactly sure. Like I said, I don't like labels. But I can see where labels help so that people can communicate and at least have a little bit of the same level of understanding. So I guess the closest I could get would be polyamory, although I think with that there's a lot of limits and expectations, assumptions that people make. I do also think that that is something that's been messed up intentionally. I think the big picture idea of it is kind of what I feel, that love is love, and you may feel it with more than one person, and that ebbs and flows within different relationships, and connections will become closer or more distant, change, shift, whatever over time. And I think without the confines of needing to label it for, I mean, I think it's a place of ego, you know, that needing to know, what is this? What are we doing? I need to know what to expect or what the rules are. I think without that, there is a lot more authenticity and a lot more freedom for two people to really just make a genuine connection and allow it to flow and go with it wherever it takes them. So I do have obviously this connection with my counterpart that just is a constant. And that is what it is. But I also feel this other connection very deeply. And I do think a large part of it is because our souls work together so often that there's just that that similar understanding, synergy. I don't know exactly what to say about it, but familiarity. And each connection for me is very different. So anyway, getting around to the story. I had tried to initiate a conversation with this person probably 4 or 5 weeks ago, just trying to talk about how I feel. And I also wanted to broach the subject of the bigger soul picture of what I see as our connection, and also this other me that happens to exist. And just to get everything out, for everyone to have clarity, to feel like, well, you know, people are on the same page. At least I can express how I feel and give people the opportunity to explore their thoughts and feelings on it and just see what happens. And the conversation got pushed off for life things. Just kept getting pushed off, and finally, with the things that have been coming up for me to work through with my counterpart, I kind of just said, okay, well, maybe that conversation just didn't happen because I'm meant to be focusing on myself and healing these things that I'm being shown right now, and all that thing. So it's not important. Like, the conversation, if it's meant to happen, will happen, and don't worry about if or when. And so he had contacted me this week and asked if we had tentative plans to talk, and that we had set a while ago. So he had said, did you still want to do that? And I was like, well, it's been quite a while. So I don't want it to feel forced. If, you know, like, I'm not opposed, I don't remember exactly what I said, but not opposed to talking, obviously, but I wasn't feeling the urgency that I felt before. And so the talk was amazing. I learned a lot. The connection that I believed is there. his heart does seem open to connecting in a more meaningful way than we have been recently, and I can very much appreciate that. But I did learn. So backtracking a bit to the conversation that I wanted to have, and also wanted to share with him about, you know, this other human, and that never happened. And when that conversation didn't happen, there were certain things in my life that I just had to kind of like maneuver around, and felt like I was not being fully truthful. And I had this debate in my mind, like, even though we haven't had a chance to sit down and talk, should I still be telling him? Should I just you know, throw it out there like it's no big deal? Should, you know, like, and ultimately what it came down to was the fact that I was trying to control his reaction. I wanted to be able to plan what I was going to say, sit with him in person, see how he would react, and take it from there. I wanted to cater my words to how I could sense he might be feeling about it. And not that I was gonna lie or anything, but I mean, I think that's a lot of the point of communicating in person, is you get a better sense of how someone's feeling about what you're saying. So I made the executive decision to not say anything. And come to find out yesterday, he's been watching all my videos. So, there are several things that, not only was it a really beautiful conversation that we were finally able to have, but a couple of things really were aha light bulb moments for me through this experience of the idea of the conversation. The first was that, well, when we were in an official relationship, he didn't pay attention or read or watch any videos of anything I posted on social media. And often we would talk about, and I would say, well, I posted that, you know, today. We would talk about something, and I'd say, well, go check that link I posted. And he always wanted to, he's like, I don't want to know what they're saying about it. I want to know what you're saying about it. And I would try my best to summarize it and get flustered, because I just felt like the information that I had shared by this other person was so much better. And so it shocked me yesterday that he had been watching my videos that I've been posting on Facebook, because he never watched anything else. And he said, well, it's because I want to hear what you have to say. Like, it's a video of you. It's not a video of someone else talking about something. And I mean, that, while it like stung a little at first, because I was like, I didn't plan on you like seeing any of that. It was really touching that he cared to know what I had to say to the world. And it also reinforced this idea, going back a couple of months now, that I am really meant to be sharing things from my own experience. And sure, maybe only 3 people will see this, and 1 might remotely resonate with it, but doing that is more powerful than sharing a link to someone else talking in a YouTube video. So I think it was kind of an aha moment in that regard, of like, oh, okay, like I can see what he meant, and I finally understood like why this would be a better way to share information. And still working on getting to the feeling of, is my information important to share? But it gets easier each time. I'm doing it, so it must be for some reason. And the second thing that I thought was super interesting is going back to the conversation that I initially wanted to have and seeing his reaction and kind of being able to control his reaction or control what I said based on his reaction, really brings me back to this whole idea of me needing that control. And honestly doing it from a pretty subconscious level. And of course, tying into the idea of surrender. So I chose not to really say anything at the time because I didn't feel like I was given the appropriate time and space to do it. And I think that was honestly on purpose, because the universe needed to show me that even though I couldn't have that conversation, I really wasn't meant to, because that would have been a much more manipulative or manipulated conversation than what I'm just sharing authentically as I'm going through these processes, not even realizing who is even listening or watching this. And so he got a much less watered down version of what I would have said. And I think it's amazing that even with all that, he still wanted to maintain a connection with me. Like, what I thought would happen if he heard the truth, it didn't happen. So it was like this epic lesson for me in showing me that I don't need to have that control and try to use conversation to help people not feel certain things or to cushion the blow or anything like that. Because honestly, this might have actually turned out better than if we'd had that. And it certainly was a lot more authentic. So, yep. That's what's going on in my life this weekend so far. And I thought it was really interesting and beautiful and kind of an update on my thoughts and feelings on connections. So just wanted to get it out and share while it was on my mind. Again, if you feel like this might resonate for anyone you know, then please feel free to share it. I'd love to hear any feedback if it resonates for you specifically. So I think that's it. I will hopefully talk to you guys soon. Have a great holiday weekend. I love you all.